Next area that I want to go over is panic and self-loathing. The way that it appears in this particular text that we're discussing. It's only short. This is not one of the most interesting aspects, but it's still important. I mean, the script does jump around the place a little bit, so apologies for that. But yeah, we're trying to find answers into the power of your own mind. When you think about it, how many thoughts do you have a day? I have thousands. I have so many just random thoughts that just enter into my head. So I think I might have tapped on this earlier as well, but your mind is very powerful, and it's just something that you need to train. You need to keep in check. If you can't keep the synapses in here in check, then we see a lot of evidence of what can happen. But if you can find contentment. Pursuit of happiness, I don't think exists as such. To me, the pursuit of happiness is just something, just words. I think contentment or intrinsic feelings, intrinsic good feelings are important, and they come. I'm not. Goggins said that, and David Goggins said that he loves suffering, and I see exactly what he is saying. Through suffering, overcoming suffering, and then getting to the end via suffering can be extremely rewarding inner contentment. And David Goggins is a bit of a hero of mine, and I absolutely abide by that. And I can't begin to express how, when I first heard him go into that, he's a pretty intense fellow. I can't express how important those statements and that particular point was to me. You can only really achieve true contentment, true intrinsic good feelings, a lot of us, via suffering. I know, suffer, but get through it. Get to the end. Tell me how you feel. Train for a marathon, then do the marathon. As you finish the finishing line, tell me how you feel. That is a moment that you won't forget. Yeah. Anyway, panic and self-loathing. My existence was idyllic. Yet do you ever think I recognise that? I ever recognise that? What's sad to me is that the text is he's obviously very deep thinker. He's, for want of a better word, sensitive, and I don't like to say that. There's a lot of self-loathing, but I feel for this person because, I mean, the things that have gone wrong for him, and it's tough, but he needs to get through it without putting blame upon himself. It's just silly. But a lot of people do this, and this is a source of self-pain that you need to rewire your brain. A form of suffering. When I was talking about David Goggins' suffering, I mean suffering to achieve something. So, I think he talks about ultra marathons, and he broke his leg and kept running, and then he gets through, and or he lost a lot of weight. He joined the military, etc., and he got through, and he achieved, and those sense of self healing and self-importance are crucial and very important. Sorry, I keep going a bit on tangents. Not tangents, I don't believe. My existence was idyllic, yet do you think I ever recognised that? Question mark. The answer, very sadly, is no. I would complain and get frustrated or be a little demanding when things didn't go my way. I would feel sad when the smallest of things went wrong. Why was I such a brat? There's too much self-blame, and it's frustrating to. No, but I think this text is crucial and important and in some ways brilliant, but, aggravating at the same time. But extremely interesting, extremely important, to me anyway. And what we're trying to do together is find the answer, find whatever can marginally, fractionally help. If we find something that can marginally or fractionally help with bad thoughts, demons in your head, etc., ideation, then we're heading a winner. Well, the answer is, I was not a completely spoiled 40-plus-year-old brat. I had just become accustomed to my life and my lifestyle. Yes. I did not seek suffering. I hadn't really experienced real suffering or real pain. Right. See, it's part of the problem. I had merely played the cards life had dealt me. Others would whine about their privileged existence, so why couldn't I? Why can't I have a never-ending supply of instant gratification? Everyone else does, don't they? Question mark. No, they don't. Let's all complain about our first world problems and be brats together. I'm so angry with my boss. I'm so angry with my job. My marriage is not perfect. My child is not perfect. My car keeps breaking down. My lack of ability to fully pay off a mortgage. I'm so upset. Woe is me. Life is so hard. Then suddenly, I lost my big salary job and reality really set in. Whoops. The company where I had my comfortable job was fully purchased by one of those billionaire types. This should be a good thing, you'd think. Previous management couldn't possibly be as bad and incompetent as the previous one. The new management couldn't possibly be as bad and incompetent as the previous one. That I would constantly complain about. Surely not. I can see where this is going. Well, I've read it already, obviously. Well, the new management appeared to be psychotic in nature. Yeah. Okay. Maybe they're just cutting costs. Psychotic in nature or cost cutting, headcount cutting. And this experience became quite an eye-opener for me in regards to what people will do to survive at the annihilation of others. New company, too many staff. Because they've merged, what's that called? Synergistic benefits. You have to lose some staff, don't you? Capitalism at its finest again. I don't think annihilation of others. I'm not. I've got to stop doing this. I don't want to. I'm not judging the text. I agree with it fundamentally. I'm just trying to give some balance. This was quite a confronting situation, to say the least. The new CEO was certainly one of a kind and on a path of pure destruction. I understand cost-cutting, synergies, redundancies. Do you? I don't think you do. But I don't understand destroying lives because you are wealthy. Oh, welcome to the real world, Budster. Jeez, silly. That human revelation seemed to hit me right between the eyes. It says canasters here, he's trying to be funny. Directly causing some tremendously painful emotions to arise. Okay, son, he seems to be digressing. Mum would always say, life can be tough and unfair. Come on, big man, stiff up a lip and toughen up for crying out loud. Yeah, harden up, princess. Harden up, princess. How many of your mates at high school, etc., say, harden up, princess? Toughen up. You got no dick. But I soon learnt I am tough. I am not tough. I am not tough, it says. And I am not hard. The situation became overwhelming. Everything I was doing seemed to be wrong, and everything I had previously achieved, the bonuses, the pay increases, the 6 monthly glowing performance reports, were suddenly completely disintegrated and like they don't even exist anymore. What is going on here? Am I a good chartered accountant, or am I a dismal one? I was certainly questioning that now. I usually able to handle the complex tasks and deliver the answers, but these new guys were making me feel like I wasn't capable. What is the truth? What can happen in life? What can happen? It may not be your fault. What can happen if there's an agenda? If there's an agenda, if there's a narrative behind the scenes that you don't see, right? Everyone can appear to be against you. No, they're not. Well, they are, but they might have a agenda that's directed to them from the board, and it sort of piles up on you, and it hurts you considerably. That is not your fault. It is not you. It is not, okay? Even though they're making it feel and seem like it's you. You know, you're smarter than this. You know whether it's you or whether it's not. You can work that out. Don't let them dictate how you feel about what you've done and what you've achieved. Think about it logically. Think about the tasks that you've completed and what you have done and what they've done. They're wealthy. They've bought a company and they kill a few people. They fire a whole bunch of people. That's not really completing a complicated task. That's not really achieving end goals. That's not really taking the SWOT analysis, with strength, weaknesses, opportunity, threat. It's not really intelligent, is it? No, it's not. Stop. But I see exactly where this guy's coming from, and it's good that he's putting it out there, and it's good that it's brilliant that he's putting it out there so we can seek and figure out the answers. Remember nihilism chapter? Don't let anyone have authority or power over you, because that's rankism. Rankism is an illusion of human construct. Yeah, but what is truth? I felt disjointed and confused. In the past, I'd been told I was clever and tough. Don't know how tough you are, brother. No. Stop. Okay, sorry, So I knew I just needed to work harder to get through this hiccup, and my real abilities would shine through. I believed I would be all right. Needless to say, I was not right on this occasion, and the words of my dad started to enter my mind. Yeah, everyone growing up, a lot of us had tough dads back in, 80s, 90s. Growing up, there's a lot of us had this before devices, before the internet. Dads were pretty hard. They didn't want little fairy kids, little fairy boys. Anyway, son, are you watching TV again? You know what, mate? That TV box is your killer. Well, we did have a device. We had a TV, didn't we? It will kill you. You will never do anything watching bloody TV all the fucking time. Now get off your lazy ass and help me out back, you pussy. Orders would be directed at me with authority. Hold this bloody plank until I cut through it. Not like that, for Christ's sake. Hold it like a man. Just hold the bloody thing still. Is that so hard, mate, really? He would make me feel inadequate even as I tried to help him. I would finally yell, "You're hopeless, I'll do it myself, useless little bastard you are. Go watch more TV, you're never going to amount to anything. You know that, don't you?" Dismissing me once again with the feelings of failure. He's just trying to tough you. That's harsh. You can go and cry about it. He's trying to help. He's trying to harden you up. Trying to give you that edge. But I would never do that. I would never say any of those things to my son. No way. I'd rather die than do that. Do I carry these words with me psychologically through my entire life? I certainly hope not. Do I hate my dad? No, I don't. I was lazy. And he was a big problem-solving authoritarian man, like a Sergeant General. I wish I could be half the man he was. No, I don't think so. You don't want to be like him. I just think it was his method for motivation that didn't resonate with me. As it turns out, the way people were treating me at work was making it appear he was correct about me after all. He certainly was a clever man. His comments were always said with such authority. How could he not be right? He was my dad after all, so he must be right. Yeah, no. Just because somebody's shot a load off in the right direction doesn't make him the be-all and end-all. I started to doubt the belief that I was great with numbers, so I tried harder. Nothing in life had ever completely defeated me before, so I was not about to let this be the first time. I worked harder on the budgets and forecasts and produced what I believe to be exceptional work. This will impress my new CEO, I thought. I think we all know where this is headed. It's not... They've got an agenda, remember? Doesn't matter what you do now. Does not matter what you do. I know it's tough. Without going into too much detail, I had to sit through the single worst meeting in my life. Comments like, you know what, I just don't think you discharging your accountabilities for your employment. Hurtful. Stab. Urgh. And this model is fundamentally flawed on many levels. No, it's not. Stab. When you're in a meeting with the CEO and hearing these statements for the first time ever in your entire working life, it catches you off guard. It would. With the benefit of hindsight, many of the comments or grandiose statements weren't entirely accurate, and certainly didn't recognise the level of detailed work that had gone into the final product or the pieces of work, etc. When you can do a complex project with many aspects and many assumptions, anyone can pick apart what not be 100% correct about it. He was criticising many immaterial aspects of the model and not absorbing the bigger picture. Good. It's great that you recognise that. I think you recognise that later. I don't think you recognise that. You're certainly not going to recognise that in that horrible meeting. This is all up to opinion and conjecture, but at the time it really sowed some seeds of doubt within my head. This CEO might have been under strict instructions to cut costs. Yes, obviously. He might have been under tremendous pressure himself. Yes, I would say yes. But he certainly displayed a high level of sociopathy. I would say yes, I would agree with that, because it's not how I would ever conduct a work meeting. It's not how I would ever behave, is destroy the little man. If I'm on 400% someone's salary and I'm destroying them who have done all the work, I would never do that. But who knows, maybe I'm just unique. All I could hear was my father's words, "You will never amount to anything, you're lazy. Can't you even hold a plank of wood, you fuckwit?" It's all flooding back to me. No one had spoken to me like this in over 10, 20 years, but it had such a familiar ring to it. One is a CEO, so he must be correct. The other was my dad, whom I loved very much, so he must also be correct. And then you get thoughts in your head, because a lot of thoughts will come into your head every day. Maybe I am useless, maybe I am lazy, maybe how did I get top grades in my qualifications when I'm so bad at my job? How did I get such a highly respected job for such a long time? Why is it all just unraveling right now? I did not have the answers to these questions, and the more I thought, and the more questions kept coming into my head. On reflection, I realised now that I was too sensitive, and I should just have taken the hit in the jaw and figured something else out, or gone out to get a similar job with a very positive attitude, with your good references. But something seemed to have snapped in my head. All I could hear were those cruel words from authority figures telling me who I was, without hesitation and without any hint of doubt. That's horrible. That's a horrible situation. I think a lot of us have been in that situation, a lot of us. What do I do? How do we deal with it? Let's see what he did. He obviously didn't deal with it that well, but it's tough. I'm just going to digress. Let's say you're a sports star, NBA player, at the top of your game, what have you got? You got about an 8-year career, and in those 8 years, they'll say you're the greatest. That's amazing. That's incredible. Those 8 years end, and the big salary ends, and the big dollars end, etc., etc. And nobody is telling you you're good at anything anymore, and you've got to figure it out. That's tough. That'll be tough. That'll be so hard. But if you hang on to your money and you just accept, if you're well trained and accept where you're at, who you are, that it was an 8-year illusion, an 8-year utopia, your career, and you just accept that, and you find contentment through that, and you say to yourself, I did my best and I did so well, then you'll be fine and you'll be brilliant, and you won't. Don't worry about it. I'm obviously, what do I do? I'm obviously not good at what I've been trained to do over the last 20 years, and I'm getting older, so it's too late to train to do something else. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I'm never going to work again. No one will hire me after this disastrous exit. I've completely ruined my career. My poor wife, who I love so much, I've let her down, and my family. Then it happened. On my grisly last day of work, I somehow drove home like I had for 12 years, but this time at 11 a.m. instead of 7 p.m. to be confronted by a very large empty apartment. I panicked and lost control. I started shaking uncontrollably and collapsed on the floor in a fetal position, wondering what on earth was going on. It was the first time I felt like this. So, obviously, panic attack or something. It's, he's just panicked. I stayed like that for a while until I finally got up, wondering what had just happened. This overwhelming sense of dread entered my head like a black cloud and had stayed with me in some sense for years, until I regained control over it. My mind was racing in a tragic direction, and there seemed to be no way out of my own brain. I just despised myself. Well, there's 40% of the problem. You shouldn't despise yourself. You've done incredibly well for 20 years. It's just Just one sociopath. See how much damage one potential sociopath can do. Now imagine being married to a sociopath. I just cannot imagine that. And anyone that is, get the fuck out. Because how much damage will they do to you psychologically? And it'd take you years to recover from it. Unless you're really well trained and you recognize what that person is. If you recognize that person is a sociopath and you've got all the tools and all the knowledge, knowing what exactly is going on or what exactly that person is doing, you'll be fine. If you can do that, you'll be fine. You'll get out, you'll figure out a way to get out, and you'll be fine. You will be wonderful. But if you don't have all those tools, you don't have that skill set, and you don't have that knowledge, the amount of damage a sociopath, psychopath, narcissist, let's stick with narcissist and sociopath, shall we? Let's not go to psychopath territory. The amount of damage that someone with those personality traits will do to you is enormous. My mind was racing in a tragic direction. There would seem to be no way out of my own brain. I had an overwhelming feeling of self-loathing, self-pity. That was indeed crippling. Self-pity, I think, is more the word. There's an English chap, I can't think of his name, that said, I can help you with self-pity now. I'll write a book. I'll write a 400-page book. How to help you with self-pity. Page 1, all the way to page 400. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. 1 to 400. One sentence on every page. Read it through. Solution. As I sit here right now, I can understand statements such as, come on, buck up, mate. Gee, snap out of it. You have responsibilities. One of my favourites, how do you find the time to be depressed? And I'm just too busy to be depressed. Sorry, that just shows that a lot of people just they talk, they like words coming out of their mouth, they like to hear their own voice, but they really need to think sometimes before they speak, and they need to get some knowledge before they make statements like that. How do you find the time to be depressed? I'm just too busy to be depressed. That last statement is a ripper, isn't it? Which saint to come up with that comment? But it was initially panic that brought me here, and the lack of tools or the mental skill to properly deal with it. Yes. It didn't take long for me to go from anxiety, or how I like to term it, panic, to self-loathing, self-pity, and then depression. The initial stage frightened me the most because it seemed to have a life of its own. Obviously never experienced that before. I started speaking quickly and talking to anyone and everyone who would possibly listen to me, but I wasn't making a great deal of sense. I was possessed by a demon in an exorcism. The Exorcist, that's a good movie. I couldn't eat or think straight. That's good, couldn't eat. With weight loss. Yeah, pros and cons everywhere. I lost weight. Do you know how much I'm trying so hard to lose weight? Which is a good thing, as I always seem to have a problem in this area. But I ended up putting on even more weight once the big depression word kicked in. Okay, went from not eating at all to being depressed, not getting out of bed, not doing any exercise or activity, and then eating like a pig. I went to a few job interviews, but people picked up on my depressive nature at this juncture, particularly in group interviews with HR representatives present. I soon came to realise that obviously something was a bit amiss, and I had to see someone. I had to see someone, I had to do something. Yes, and that's great. It's great. brilliant. My GP sent me to a psychologist, but unfortunately I don't believe I got the right person to help me. He spent a great deal of time with mindfulness and then chit-chatting. But it just didn't resonate with me at that time. It certainly does now, but you need to go through the process. I believe that depression is a very broad term and it seems to be very misunderstood. Depression is a break or breakdown of the mind, but I believe a necessary one. I saw someone once describe depression as deep rest, deep rest, which is a play on words, but I think this way of thinking about it is very healthy. There is nothing wrong with you experiencing depression. It is not a mental health malfunction, except for extreme cases of self-hatred, dread, catatonia, suicidal ideation. It is your brain imploding into itself and you need to unravel it. This unraveling of infinite synapse connections is so complex, it may take years. I actually agree with all of that. I think that's extremely insightful. I know what you're thinking, gee, I don't have years. I have to work hard, I have to look after my family, I have to make money, I have to make money. You're a slave to money until you die. I have to be productive, I have to have a sense of purpose, or what on earth is a point? Right. But this unraveling will take time and that needs to be understood. It is your powerful mind taking over. You are powerful. Everyone, you are powerful. And your mind is powerful beyond your ability to fathom. A lot of us, our minds are more powerful than we can even fathom. I mean, look what it does to you. Please understand this and don't give up on me just yet. Back to this extremely interesting and powerful topic later. Right. For now, let's explore the initial stage, which is a panic and self-loathing. My whole life was coming apart at the seams, or at least I thought it was. It wasn't. But in some ways, that doesn't seem to matter. What matters is what my mind kept telling itself. See, this is a great text. The reality of the situation is I only lost a job that I had worked at for over 12 years. In the scheme of things, I should be grateful that I had that sort of security and level of achievement for such a long time in my employment, but that certainly wasn't what my mind was telling me. It was yelling, pathetic failure, incompetent loser. Stop torturing me, brain. Shut up. Okay, you got voices in your head. Maybe you are a nut bar. That means I'm a nut bar. We're all nut bars. No. Can we just edit that, the last few statements out, please? Not long after losing my job, I received a phone call from my mother. Son, don't panic about but your dad is unwell. We're going for tests. Do you want to come? Of course, I say. I have plenty of time now. What's that saying? You got plenty of time or plenty of money? The blood tests reveal my dad has cancer and seems absolutely riddled with it. At this point, the thought that goes through my mind is, oh, this is perfect. As if I don't feel terrible enough already. What the fuck is going on? What the F is going on? He doesn't put the whole word in. Right. Part of the truth is my mind had never developed the tools to cope with this type of event. I'd never had anyone close to me die of cancer before. I'd seen it in movies and cried like a baby. But real life seemed to take it to a whole new level. Yes. Bloody hell, loss of job and income, now this, what's next? What can I do? I seem to have my own issues to deal with, and the timing of this could not be worse. Is there ever a good timing for such bad news? I guess it's no good time to be told someone you love and someone that raised you and looked after you for decades is dying in crippling pain. It's probably never a great time to hear that. I don't know. After your acai bowl? No. The one upside for me was that the timing was probably great, given I was no longer slaving away at a 9 to 5 job, 8 to 6 job anymore. It is all what your brain keeps telling you versus a bigger picture of reality of your actual situation. Great. This is a key sentence that I will be reinforcing over this journey to allow us to better handle our minds. What are the options now? Chemotherapy, new drug trials. What can we do here? Chemo ends up being the only option. So my dad underwent a course of chemotherapy to help him get better. Now this is where things get a bit raw. During this time, I was still concerned about my own issues, even with my dad dying in pain, which is very difficult for me to describe, but unfortunately that seems to be the truth. All right. So we're getting really under the surface here. We're getting into the crux. And my mind was shouting at me, hang on, my dad's busted his backside his whole life to give me a life and only care about myself. What sort of a selfish piece of shit am I? I kept trying to refocus and concentrate on what could be done to help mum and dad. I kept telling my brain, focus. Stupid foggy brain, let's go, no more self-centered thinking. There are bigger things going on. Yeah, I see you're down. And you've got to kick yourself into action. You've got no choice now. Something's happened. You have to kick yourself into action. But you're down. You're flat as a tack. You're deep resting, depressed at the moment. But you have to kick yourself into action. But you can't. And now that's just going to snowball in your own mind for self-loathing and dark thoughts, etc., etc. Right. So, I mean, I understand all that, and that is... A lot of people say that word, unfortunate. That is unfortunate. But we must move forward. Take the hits, but you got to move forward. You got to deal with the hits. You have to process the hits. You have to make sense of the hits. What am I going to do? I'll go to the first chemotherapy with mum and dad. Dad seems to have gone from waddling around to wheelchair bound while I've only been thinking of my selfish self again. So you're far too hard on yourself. You're not. You're there, aren't you? You're there, okay? Looking left, sick people. Looking right, sick people. Can someone get me to the cafe for a cappuccino? I've only had one today. Mum, Dad, can I go get you guys a lovely latte and mochaccino from the cafe? No, comes a reply. We're fine. Plus, don't you think we have other more pressing issues? It's amazing how, no matter how old you get, my parents can always answer every question 180 degrees from what I was after. I think it's time to use reverse psychology on them. I should have said, I've already had a coffee this morning and certainly can't stomach another, but if either of you want one, I'd be happy to go to the cafe to get them. Just let me know. Yeah, that would have probably worked. Damn it, get me out of here. I can't breathe. I don't want to be here because of sick people left and right, etc. And selfish. I can't even just be here, for crying out loud. There's my dad, a shadow of his former self in agony. I can't even just be here and shut the fuck up. Actually says that in the... no, not really. Get him hooked up to the prune juice already. It's not prune juice. Get him hooked up to the prune juice already. Then I can take my mum to the cafe for a coffee and chat. Surely no such luck. How does it feel, Dad? Are you in pain, big man? Asked my dad conversationally. Yeah, wonderful. How do you think, you little prick? I always wondered why. It comes a quick, curt response. Make yourself useful and go get me a paper, will you? Hurry up about it. Come straight back, okay? Yep, Dad, no problem. I'll just grab myself a coffee while I'm there. And then I rush off before any answer comes my way. When I return, my dad is quick to comment, "Where have you been? Where's me bloody paper?" Jesus, you can't even follow in simple instructions, can you? No wonder they gave you the coke and SARS at your job. Give me the paper. Tough fellow. I guess I deserve that. I obviously didn't follow the specified time frame that I was... I obviously didn't follow the specified time frame that was instructed. Bloody hell, Dad. We are both hanging out in chemotherapy unit. It appears to me that all you and I seem to have is... seem to have left is bloody time for a nice coffee before we die, for fuck's sake. I can't even grab a coffee for both of us without him telling me how much of a fuckwit I am. Okay, Pop, I say. I got held up, mate, sorry. Do you need anything else? Mumble, mumble. I gather that means no. My lovely number one son, who I adore. That's sarcasm, obviously. Okay, I can't stay here any longer, but I seem to be stuck. What can I possibly say to get out of here? Work is calling. I don't have any goddamn work. I seem to have a pressing engagement with season 18 of Special Victims Unit, New York City. Geez, where is Stabler gone? Miss that edgy acting of Christopher Maloney. So he's daydreaming. I'm stuck here at chemotherapy. What fun. What a selfish, self-centered bastard I am. God, I hate myself. Why am I such a loser? Dad has always been right. Okay, brain, leave me alone. No, it won't. Not until I get it into a bed for at least 70 hours straight and trying to figure some of this shit out. Before that, I need to panic about my entire life coming apart, it seems. Feelings of panic, panic, panic. I can't let Mum and Dad see this. Calm down. Don't lose your mind in the chemotherapy unit. That won't be useful to anyone, really. Fuck this shit. Mum, help me. I'm drowning here. I can at least see that Mum is also possibly drowning here. At least I can recognise that Mum is internally in pain also. Not knowing exactly how to handle this current situation. I feel anxious. I feel fear. I feel scared. What do I do? Remember, I'm still only at a very early stage in my process from the loss of job. Don't worry about it. It will move very soon into an overwhelming feeling of permanent dread. But not quite there yet. Closer. Getting closer in the chemotherapy unit. With all these feelings rising within me, I gasp at Mum, I need to get out of here. I'm feeling extremely anxious right now. I'm very sorry, but I just need to get home to sort out my mind and take one of my anti-anxiety pills. Please, Mum, will you be able to take Dad home? Of course, she responds wearily. You go. Just say goodbye to Dad before you go. Thank you, Mum. See you then. Love you. That's weird. I never say love you to my parents. Just not what I do, and certainly not something they ever do. But I'm malfunctioning a bit. I will need to put it down to that. Bye, Dad, I say. I'm preparing to leave. Where are you going? He gruffly responds. Why don't you get a job? You don't have a job. Sorry. Just back up a second. He gruffly responds, you don't have a job, do you? Nothing is easy with him, of course. I just spoke to Mum and I have to be off to do something, okay? Love you, Dad. Oh my goodness, did I just say I love you, Dad? Have I seriously lost my mind? Anyway, I'm out of here. I am such a selfish prick. I will make it up to them on the next visit. For now, I need to see someone, take a pill. I'm not right in the head. Here I am again at a psychologist session, and today's topic is mindfulness. Just think of right now, in the moment in time. Is there anything you need to be panicked about at this exact moment? Okay, well, no, but my future looks bleak, and my recent past is disastrous. So what on earth are you talking about? Help me out, will you? You can tell me I'm not right. Stop with the stuff I'm not really understanding or resonating with and help me now. Little did I realise he was helping me in the best way he could, but he was just a little off topic, that's all. My mind kept racing, but after taking my pill, my mind stops, and the panic and the racing, it slowly eases into a more relaxed state. See, that's where the drugs can help, and they do help. And if they help, bang, take them. Instead comes a dark cloud of dread, self-hate, and loathing. Well, that's not good. He's coming to stay for a while with this big, ugly, monstrous, all-consuming bastard of black dread. On the upside, at least, the panic, mind-racing, or insanity, or whatever the hell that was, seems to have subsided, which is certainly good to be replaced by a monster called constant flatness and dread, depression. I seem to have been panicking when now I can't seem to move at all. I seem to have been panicking before when now I can't seem to move. Everything is shutting down. Time to press a quick reset button. Oh, I don't have an immediate reset button. What fresh hell is this? Whatever this is, I don't have the skills or the tools to deal with this in any quick sense. That is for certain. Parts of that I liked. Parts of that I didn't like. It's really wearing one's heart on one's sleeve. But you can see exactly what's going on and where this particular person is going and where he currently is. A lot of us will go through things like this. So how what he went through and how he finds solutions or how he deals with this. We are going to find the answers. We are going to find the answers to. Please subscribe so I can keep on finding the answers that work for everyone out there. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for keeping up on this journey with me. Thank you.